guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. I've been working non-stop and I haven't had time to really do much of anything. But today we're going to talk about Kandy's story. It's been weeks and weeks of not knowing. Weeks and weeks of questions. Weeks and weeks with no answers. Weeks and weeks of searching tirelessly. Weeks of worry. That's what Kandi Green Gonzalez's family has endured. Weeks of pure torture. Kandi is a 36-year-old mother, sister, and daughter that disappeared on June 1st, 2021. She was last seen in the backyard of a resident on Abbott Creek Road in Prestonsburg, Kentucky, running into the creek. Kandi was last seen wearing a pink floral jumpsuit. Her shoes were found in the creek near the residence she was last seen at, so she is presumed to be barefoot. Kandy's family are searching for her every day, but all the answers that they find only lead to more questions. Now, I did try to get more background on Kandi, but unfortunately I was unable to contact her family and friends. I did make a post on her Facebook info group, but was met with absolute hostility from people who tried to say I was using the story for money or gaining followers. I do not want to speak on this a second, as it saddened and angered me. And I in no way make money off of any of my where is or missing videos. None of these videos are monetized or will ever be monetized. My intention for this video is to help bring more awareness to Kandy's story and to try to get some bigger creators to pick up on it, like Linda from It's a Crime, who absolutely does amazing on the cases that she covers. I would like to say that it's sad that people who are trying to help, get attacked, and when other people see that it could stop them from attempting to help or spread the word. Now, on June the 1st, 2021, two landscapers in Prestonsburg, Kentucky saw a blonde woman in a pink romper walking down Abbott Creek Road in Prestonsburg, Kentucky, Floyd County. They got in their truck and followed her. Some sources say they were taunting her, which made the woman run into the backyard of the Potter's home.
You know, these boys are here and they're taunting her, and then she just takes off because she's scared. She takes off running.
Where she hid around the chicken coop. The woman was scared, disoriented, and confused. A relative of the Potters, Charlene, began to ask the woman who she was and what she wanted. The young men in the video are saying the woman is on drugs and crazy. This woman was Kandi Green Gonzalez, and this was the last day that Kandi was seen by anyone. I have the video footage of this encounter, so let's take a look.
Does she know that there's a ring watching her right now? There's a camera on the doorbell. We can see her. Where did she go? I'm coming. It's all right. Listen, I don't know where you're going, but you need to get out of this yard. Walk along the highway. Huh? KK can see her from the ring. KK knows what's going on already. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what you're doing, but you need to call your mother. I will call your mother for you. Happily. Where's your mom? Listen, I have your daughter. Is that a truck camera? My daughter? It's a truck camera. Listen, I need you to calm down. I can help you, but you need to tell me what's going on. I'll happily help you. I'm calling your mom for you. What the hell? I need you to get out of this yard. Or come talk to me. One of the two. Don't play on me. You are on our land. I need to understand why
was a truck in on there too, I think. I thought that was the woman you had that was in the house. Did you guys listen? Did you see me? Yeah. Nathan said, help me. I said, wow, this guy, this is so heavy.
I'm sorry, but if I was... I'm calling your mom for you. What the hell? I need you to get out of this yard. Or come home. One of the two. Don't play with me. You are on our land. I need you to understand lies. I need you not to mess with their crops.
She's gonna get the clean.
Look here.
Hey, watch out, there's snakes down there.
Watch out. What the heck is up?
Well, I don't know why you're trying to read them, but it's clearly fucking creepy.
As we can all see in the video, Kandi is very confused and scared. Too scared to speak to the woman hollering after her and the boys who insist that she's crazy and are taunting her. The homeowner's relative, Charlene, finally got Kandi's mother's number and called her. Betty Dixon said she received a voice message of someone saying that her daughter Kandi was in their backyard. Betty made a statement to the press saying that the voicemail stated the following. The resident said, your daughter is here and she says you're her mother and she wants to tell you that her boyfriend threw her out. And then Betty hears in the background Kandi hollering, Mom, Mom, Mom. I have a video that Kandi's mom done speaking to the press, so let's take a look at that as well.
For Betty Dixon, it all started with a voicemail on June 1st.
She said, your daughter is here. She says you're her mother.
Kandi Green Gonzalez was wandering through a yard on Abbott Creek Road before asking the homeowners to call her mom.
And I could hear Kandi saying, Mom, Mom, Mom.
So in the phone call, Kandi had stated she had been thrown out by her boyfriend, Jeff Blackburn. Jeff and Kandi have been together for approximately 2 years. Jeff has a background which is public knowledge of DUIs and selling illegal substances. Some believe that Jeff was let off lightly because his father, John K. Blackburn, was sheriff of Floyd County and was president of Kentucky Sheriff's Association. According to residents of Floyd County, John was involved in a lot of criminal activity, and while he isn't sheriff anymore, they say that he and his son still get special treatment due to their connection to law enforcement. We do know that a few days only after his son was arrested for a DUI, John was actually arrested and charged with drunk driving. Let's take a look at the video of former Sheriff John Blackburn.
On the wrong side of the law, 2.5 years after he was arrested for DUI while serving as Floyd County Sheriff, Prestonsburg police arrested John K. Blackburn last night. He now faces numerous charges, including DUI, wanton endangerment involving a police officer, and escape. WIMT's Matthew Rand joins us now with more on that. Matt?
Steve, police say dispatchers got the call around 10 o'clock last night about a green Ford pickup truck swerving and moving slowly down US 23. Police caught up with the vehicle on Abbott Creek Road. Officers say John K. Blackburn was behind the wheel and over the limit. After his arrest, police say Blackburn began complaining of chest pains and was taken to Highlands Regional Medical Center for evaluation. Sometime in the night, police say he left the hospital without permission and then surrendered to police this morning.
He was a police officer for several years here in the county. People make mistakes.
Police also charged Blackburn for not wearing a seatbelt and failing to produce a driver's license and proof of insurance. Police would not go into details about Blackburn's wanton endangerment, disorderly conduct, and menacing charges. They say more charges are likely to be filed against Blackburn in this ongoing investigation. Steve?
So, someone close to one of Jeff's exes, Krista, says that allegedly Jeff's ex had called her and said that Jeff was going to kill her and wouldn't let her leave. Krista and a friend drove to Jeff's house and called the police. She said when the police arrived, they were buddy-buddy with Jeff and asked them to let the girl leave. When she emerged from the home, her shirt was ripped, her lip was busted, and her earring had been ripped out. Police did not even speak to the woman or make a report of the incident. Krista said as they drove away, law enforcement was still standing with Jeff, making small talk with him. So apparently, it's not a big deal for Jeff to hold people hostage or put his hands on a woman in Prestonsburg, Kentucky. Is it because he's the sheriff's son? Allegedly, this is not the only time Jeff has been violent with women. Another woman said she was locked in a motel room for days by Jeff, and during that time he was regularly violent with her and locked her in the bathroom and choked her. It is also alleged that Jeff has even went so far as to shoot one of his ex-girlfriends. Now, Jeff has never been charged with a violent crime, nor has a report been made against him. Now, I wanted to do some research on how fear, anxiety, things of that nature could affect someone to kind of explain maybe Kandy's state the day that she was last seen in the video that you just seen a minute ago. So first I found info on what's called the fugue state. And this presents as sudden, unexpected travel away from one's home with an inability to recall some or all of one's past. Onset is sudden, usually following severe psychosocial terror stressors. The onset of a dissociative fugue state is usually sudden and follows a traumatic or highly stressful event. Dissociative fugues are associated with difficult events such as natural disasters, wars, as well as severe marital or financial distress, alcohol abuse, depression, and a history of child abuse. The word fugue comes from the Latin word flight. People with dissociative fugue temporarily lose their sense of personal identity and impulsively wander or travel away from their homes and places of work. They often become confused about who they are and might even create new identities. I mean, that's fight or flight. This instinctive psychological response is a threatening situation which leads one either to resist forcibly or to run away. The fight or flight response is an automatic psychological reaction to an event that is perceived as stressful or frightening. The perception of threat activates the sympathetic nervous system and triggers an acute stress response that prepares the body to flee or to fight. In response to acute stress, the body's both of these, in my opinion, could very well describe precisely why Kandi was acting the way she was acting the last time that she was seen. On June 23rd, 3 weeks after Kandi went missing, her brother put out a statement on a Facebook group. Her brother, let's go ahead and look at his statement. We'll read over that, and then we'll hit some highlighted points in that statement. I have read some of these comments and they are really upsetting. The picture shows where she went into the creek. We found her shoes the first day. We searched about 5 feet from where she went into the creek. We called the state police and we were told by Officer Dixon to pick the shoes up out of the creek. Really? We didn't, by the way. They weren't touched. Officer didn't come out to get those shoes till Saturday, 3 days later. That day, they brought a cadaver dog instead of a tracking dog. They spent about 30 to 45 minutes where we found her shoes and left. End of that search. Don't ask why they had that type of dog smell that area. It was really stupid if you ask me, but what do I know? Back to her tracks. On the next day after the phone call, my cousin and I found her tracks going up an embankment about 5 to 10 foot downstream from her shoes. There were toe marks and handprints going up the hill. We followed them up about 50 foot. Then they turned right, headed back towards her house. We followed them to a family graveyard and a large open field. We followed her path through the field as it was around 4 foot tall at the time and hadn't been cut. We could see her path, not a deer path. We know the difference. We followed it back over to the creek where she sat down against a tree and left a butt imprint on the ground. She could have been tired or just sitting down to make sure the kids taunting her were gone, but we don't know. We didn't see any more footprints until right across the street from her road, where they then hit the pavement. I have no idea who said anything about tire marks because that's something that I haven't heard. Sounds far-fetched considering I've
ran off the road every day from people that can't drive or don't know how to share the road. What I'm trying to say is if there was tracks, then it could have been anyone's. One thing we do know is that she made it to the road beside the black barn across from Carpus Lick where she lived. We don't know what happened afterwards. I will say the sheriff's office did a search on the 19th and were there from 8 a.m. until 1:30 p.m.
Kandy's brother says that on July the 1st, 2021, her family searched the backyard where Kandi was last seen. They found Kandy's shoes about 5 foot from where she was seen going into the creek. The family then called Officer Dixon of the Kentucky State Police to come and pick up the shoes out of the creek and bag them for evidence. Officer Dixon informed them to pick up the shoes, but the family refused, knowing there could be crucial evidence disturbed if they done so. Officers didn't show up to retrieve Kandy's shoes for 3 days after they were called by the family. The same day they retrieved the shoes, Saturday, June 5th, they brought a cadaver dog with them instead of a tracking dog. Now, I actually went and emailed an expert that trains cadaver tracking dogs and also does the search and rescues. And I asked him, why would they do this? What's the difference between a cadaver dog? What's the difference between a search and rescue dog? So let's go over those differences really quick. What are cadaver dogs? Cadaver dogs are specially trained to serve a very important role in society, and while the job itself might not be a pretty one, it is a necessary one. Cadaver dogs are dogs who are trained to pick up the scent of human remains, which is why you'll sometimes see them referred to as human remain detection dogs. Their work may seem similar to search and rescue dogs, but cadaver dogs play a distinctly different role. While the former is trained to pick up the general scent of humans, cadaver dogs specialize in detecting decomposing flesh. A trained cadaver dog is 95% effective at picking up the scent of humans' decomposition, including bodies that are buried up to 15 feet deep. So some training that cadaver dogs go through are called trailing, and that is a skill that allows dogs to pick up on scents that have fallen on the ground, such as instances in which a body was dragged. There's also air scenting, a skill for picking up scents in the air, which includes smelling decomposing remains in the air and following the scent to its source. Cadaver dogs are able to tell the difference between human remains and animal remains, which means they'll know right away if the scent they're picking up is from a person or from decomposing wildlife. Because they are trained to pick up scents both on the ground and in the air, cadaver dogs can identify crime scenes even if the body has since been moved. Depending on the circumstances, they may also be able to lead search teams to where the body was relocated to. Cadaver dogs work tirelessly both in training and in the field. Altogether, they can identify hundreds of different scents related to decomposition versus the handful of scents a drug or bomb-sniffing dog might be trained to sniff out. During training, cadaver dogs learn to differentiate between types of decomposing flesh, including recently dead victims, long dead victims, and drowned victims. So, what are search and rescue dogs? The skill of search and rescue dogs can mean the difference between life and death, especially during natural disasters, mass casualty events, and when locating missing people. Using the renowned olfactory system, search and rescue dogs are able to locate missing individuals in different environments. This incredible skill helps search and rescue, SAR, teams across the world to track down missing individuals in the wilderness or in the aftermath of disasters. Using a well-trained SAR dog, searches can be conducted with precision and have a higher chance of success. So what is search and rescue, SAR? The aim of search and rescue is straightforward: to locate an individual or group who has gone missing or is in imminent danger and return them to a place of safety. Some search and rescue personnel or units are also responsible for helping to locate deceased individuals and bring closure to desperate families and help bring justice when heinous acts are committed. So the expert dog trainer told me that typically during a missing persons event, you would have a search and rescue dog come out before you would have a cadaver dog, because you are looking for a live person. You are not looking for a dead person, if that makes sense. You know, so I'm not sure why they would bring a cadaver dog out when they're looking for someone who is alive. Kandy's brother states they spent about 30 to 45 minutes where her shoes were found and then left. That's it. July 6, 2021, Kandy's brother and their cousin tracked Kandy's tracks 5 to 10 foot. Now, this is her brother and her cousin, okay? And living in the country, you know how to track. You just do. Something you're grown up to figure out, especially if you're a hunter. So they tracked her tracks 5 to 10 foot downstream from her shoes going up an embankment. So it's just like a little slope, basically. So she was going up it. He stated that there were handprints and toe marks going up the hill. So she was probably like grabbing onto the ground and trying to get up because it was probably slippery where it was at the creek. They then followed the prints about 50 foot. He says they turned right and headed back toward her home she shared with her boyfriend Jeff. They followed Kandy's footprints to a small graveyard and a large open field. They followed her path through the field as it was around 4 foot tall at the time and hadn't been cut yet. He stated that they could clearly see her path and that it was not a game trail. They know the difference. They followed the path back over to the creek where she sat down against a tree, leaving a butt imprint on the ground. They then followed her path back down to the creek underneath 2 bridges that are a couple feet apart from one another on a small sandbar where 2 bare footprints pointed in the direction of Kandy's home. They lost her trail until right across the street from her road where they then hit the pavement. Kandy's footprints stopped beside a black barn across from Copper Slick where Kandi resided with her boyfriend. Kandy's family have been searching tirelessly. Volunteers search and rescue as well as search and rescue dogs have volunteered their time. But Kentucky State Police say as of now, Kandi is just a missing person, that she is not considered missing and endangered, which would put more pressure on them to do more than what they're doing. To qualify as a missing and endangered person, you need to have a developmental disability or be a vulnerable adult that has mental health problems, a physical disability, or you're kind of older in your years, and in combination with environmental or weather conditions, which after Kandi disappeared, it was like constant rain. So she was dressed in a romper like I'm wearing now, actually, except it was pink. And so I'm going to show you guys. This is what Kandi was wearing. I did not realize, wow, that's weird. I did not realize I was wearing almost the exact same thing she had on, except hers was pink. Wow. Anyway. So the definition of a missing and endangered person includes a missing adult aged 26 years of age or older who is suspected by a law enforcement agency of being endangered or the victim of criminal activity. Now, if Kandi was qualified as a missing endangered person or an EMA, endangered missing advisory would be broadcasted. The EMA is used for cases involving missing persons that do not meet the Amber Alert criteria. The EMA can be utilized for endangered missing persons of all ages. The EMA is a notification sent via email to media in the affected geographic regions with information about an endangered person in hopes the media will publicize the information in an effort to enlist the public's help in locating the missing person, which is something Kentucky State Police have not done. 2 weeks after Kandy's disappearance, the Floyd County Sheriff's Office finally announced that they would be conducting a large-scale search effort on June 19th. Up to this point, the only searching that had been done was by family and volunteers. The Sheriff's Office stated that during the search they would not be welcoming volunteers to aid in the search. Only law enforcement and certified searchers would be welcome. You can visit Kandy's Facebook page, which is in the link in the description of this video, as always, to find out when searches are being done if you would like to help and join the efforts of the family and friends. A resident
allowed family to set up base camp in their backyard close to where Kandi went missing to group together for searches. Residents have also donated drinks and snacks for those searching for Kandi. Kandy's family is so thankful to everyone who has come together to find Kandi when the state of Kentucky failed them miserably. In my opinion, those who were close to Kandi being involved with law enforcement, her boyfriend's father, and her boyfriend should be a reason for outside agencies to become involved. Her family has started a petition on change.org to insist on further investigations from the KSP and the KBI. Some have speculated that maybe Kandi wandered into the woods and got lost or got attacked by an animal. Kandy's brother insists that this did not happen. He says that Kandi knows this area like the back of her hand, as a lot of us from the mountains do. Where we grow up around, we know those woods, because that's all we've got to do growing up, is be in those woods. He says that they grew up there and she would know where to go and where not to go. After all, Kandi was sane enough to ask for help in the backyard and ask the woman to call her mother. So I don't believe that Kandi would have wandered into dangerous or unfamiliar territory and got lost. Some have also speculated that Kandi was on drugs. To me, whether she was or not is absolutely irrelevant. A woman does not go running down a creek and just disappear into thin air, and no one knows what happened to her. It doesn't happen. There is a $10,000 reward that's being offered for any information that brings Kandi Green Gonzalez home. You can call the tip line at 1-859-509-1488 or 859-619-9192. Kandy's mother has also listed her phone number on the Facebook group, so you can call her with any tips as well. My thoughts and prayers go out to Kandy's family and friends during this time, as well as Kandi herself. Kandi, stay strong, stay brave, and we will find you. Alright guys, unfortunately that's all I have for this video. I know it's short, I know it's sweet, and I'm sorry. There was really no more information that I could get from this case. I didn't want to step on anybody's toes, didn't want to make anyone upset, so I stopped while I was ahead. But I wanted to do what I could, and I will obviously, as always, be coming back, giving you guys updates. Now our next story is going to be on missing 5-year-old from Rogersville, Tennessee, 5 minutes down the road from me, who has been missing for 2 weeks now. Summer, our prayers are with you, baby. And if you know something about this little girl, say something. If you know something about Kandy's situation, say something. These are humans. These are people with families. Kandi has a 5-year-old, beautiful little boy. She has a mother, a father, brother, sisters. She has a family that wants her home desperately. So please, call in, and if you've seen her, no matter how little or big the tip may be, call in and let us know. Always remember, guys, as always, love yourself, love each other, and I